Okay, you guys, welcome back to the Gritty Mamas podcast. We are back here at Sundara.
A Julie Jeppson production.
I know, I left it out on purpose. I still feel so stupid saying
I love it.
Oh, man. Well, thank you. But yes, we're here at Sundara. It feels like it's been a while.
It does.
Right? Has it been 2 weeks? Feels like it's been longer than
10
that.
days or something, probably.
Yeah. Feels like a long time since we've been in here.
But last time we were here, things went south.
Yes. We did not have a video last week because...
many reasons.
Yes. Well, for one thing, you can see Carly with this camera. You can see me with this camera. And we have a camera over there that's getting both of us talk.
Yep.
And that iPad was like leaning.
By the end of the video, it was totally not straight. And then if anybody cares to know, if you film in, what's that? Cinematic. That's just an Apple setting. It's not a setting on other cameras from what I understand. And it's a super large file and it's really hard to transfer off of your phone. Mm-hmm. And we accidentally filmed one of them, which was on my camera in that format.
How dare you?
I didn't even know I did it. I don't even think I did it.
Yeah.
I don't know who pushed that button.
Here, right? It's probably me. Gosh, this stuff is hard, guys. It's hard to get all this stuff set up. And we are grateful for Mark and for Whitney. Mark is just a master behind the scenes, setting up the cameras and the lights and the microphones and the little soundboard here. I mean, he has installed and plugged in everything in this building. So
he's incredible. And we appreciate you guys for being here, because I was looking at our numbers, just looking at comments and numbers, and I was super impressed and appreciative that so many people listened on YouTube that usually would watch. Right? Like,
and that's, I guess, I want to put out there, what are you guys watching for? What do you look for when you see that notification pop up? I was telling Carly, we need juicier titles. Maybe it'll make people click and, get a little bit of clickbait.
But I want to be authentic too. We don't want to just be clickbaity.
But clickbait, remember, is like some clickbait is where you click on something, but the video has nothing to do with what But my videos, authentic. It's clickbaity, but it's still from the video.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know if it's real.
We make it applicable.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Clickable.
It's hard. We're starting at like 11 o'clock at night.
Yes, we're tired once again, but we've been in planning mode. So we've been at Sundara for the last couple of hours, but planning for this May 9th event, which by the time you get this, it'll be the following week. And it's going to be chaotic, and it's going to be kind of disorganized, or I guess organized chaos is what I meant to say.
Organized chaos. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the first event you've thrown in how long?
Since the last time I wrote my book, maybe 2 or 3 years. I don't even know.
So it's been a while since you planned an event.
Because I had no money to throw an event, I had nothing to start with, I had nothing to be able to throw an event because it costs money. And, I keep asking myself, why am I doing this? And Carly will always remind me, well, that's your why. Yeah. That's your why. Because it's hard and it's costly and it takes time. But like I said in the podcast, maybe a couple of weeks ago, I feel a duty or maybe an obligation, or I feel like I need to pay forward what has been paid forward to me the last couple of years.
I think lots of people have good intentions they make promises at the beginning of the year to themselves. They're going to lose weight. They're going to do whatever. Or they say, if I ever find success, I will do this, that, or the other. Or, they just have different ideas and things that they want and they forget down the line. Mm-hmm. Right. But I think you are somebody who, you talk all the time about how even though you were miserable married, you never would have left because you're so loyal, right? And I think that you look at that as a bad thing, but that's the same part of you that is pushing for this event. It's the same part of you that's, I always said, if I had an opportunity to give back, I would. Yeah. And it's fascinating for me to watch you because I imagine you like fulfilling that promise to yourself when your house is paid off, when your legal fees are paid off, when whatever. But the second you have something to give back, you are. And that's it's not just fascinating, it's inspiring to watch because it gives the rest of us no excuses, right? Mm. And you're kind of a no excuse kind of person. And I think it's really cool to watch on a personal close-up scale, instead of a bird's eye view, I have like an up close and personal view to all of this because I could come up with 150 reasons not to do this.
Right. Yeah. So can I. But yeah.
But you're doing
thank
it because you see the little that you have, and it's the loaves and the fishes, right? A little bit of Jesus here.
Yeah.
It's your widow's mite. It's the loaves and fishes. You're bringing the 5 that you have, and we are hoping that the Lord will multiply them. And he has. Like, let's talk about some of the stuff that's going into this event, right? Like, I mean, Minky donating 75 blankets.
Yes, that is a huge shout out to Minky Couture, I just messaged them and said, hey, I've got a lot of women in domestic violence and single mothers and women trapped in family court. Would you consider donating some blankets to this event? 75 to be exact. And they said, yes, we would love to. So I went and picked them up at their warehouse in Ogden. And I was like, how much is just one of these blankets? And she's like, I think like $150. And I saw the invoice for $14,995. So I was like, oh my gosh.
That's not a little amount.
No. And then I think is Epicutis is the skincare.
We need to look up the actual name.
Sundara has a representative or company, skincare brand, and they're donating their kits, 100 of them. Those are $75 each.
Yeah.
I have obviously my Gritty Mama's hat that I'm going to hand out and hope that people will market, hopefully not downtown at Temple Square during conference. That'd be nice. Just do it.
You plan your entire outfit to conference based on this hat.
Yes, if you don't mind.
We're all black, please.
Yes. Sheesh. That was a little dig. Had to be said. But anyway, yes, things are coming into place. And then, of course, here at Sundara, where the event is going to be held, a lot of work is going to be put in towards this. We've got speakers.
Mark is going to try and put in a waterfall.
He is. Oh my goodness.
I don't know how he's going to do all the things. And if the waterfall doesn't come in, Mark, if it doesn't get here in time, it's totally okay. He wants to so bad. Yeah. He wants to, but
as these are very driven people to have built this from the ground up and to let us
literally
post
though,
your podcast
when you say that somebody builds something from the ground up, you think about like all of the phone calls and the fundraising and all of these.
This is literal.
Like their 2 hands, 4 hands between the 2 of them have
from gravel.
Built this. Like a couple weeks ago, some less than kind and responsible guest here, I think they call them guests, right? Flushed the hand towels down the toilet. And so they had it back up in one of their bathrooms terribly. And as I'm talking to Whitney about it, she's like drawing me a picture of the septic or whatever the drain system is, and how it works and where it's stuck, because they're the ones that put it in.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's wild
They just taught themselves, which I firsthand appreciate. And I know I've talked to you about this, Carly, and I don't want to keep beating the dead horse, right? But I am trying to give myself little pats on the back instead of continuing to just rip on myself for all the things that I haven't done, right?
Yeah.
But I've had to learn a lot of programs,
myself
to I'm talking about something as simple as iMovie, GarageBand, the editing and Instagram.
To clarify, when we podcast, Julie and I podcast together, where people see me on the street, do you podcast with? Yes, I podcast with Julie.
Have you had people say that?
At my kids' elementary school. Are you the one that podcasts with Julie? I'm like, oh my gosh, yes.
Woohoo, I love it.
But I do nothing but sit down, put on the headphones and talk. That's all I do. Julie is the one that figures out all the things, how to put it on the internet. I wouldn't know where to begin.
It's hard.
It is so stressful to me just thinking about, I can feel a layer of anxiety when I think about doing that. So the fact that you've figured out what to do with this, all of this,
it takes time, right?
Memory on your phone.
Yeah.
You take the memory on your phone and then you do all this stuff with it and voila, we have a podcast.
Well, it's like, for example, if I'm using one platform to edit something, the editing button and the trimming button and the cutting button,
they're all different.
They're different on each platform. So I'm having to teach myself on Photoshop. I'm having to teach myself on Final Cut Pro. What's the other one I'm learning? Go High Level. I'm creating my own website. Why? Because I don't have money to pay someone to build it for me.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if I have something that I want to put on the website or change something or add something, I just want to do it myself because you want to know what? I don't have the patience to wait for people. I hate it.
Well, and if you have a middleman, it's not just more expensive, it takes longer.
Oh my gosh, because it's not their priority. They're like, yeah, I'll get to that when I can. But I hate waiting for people to do something that I want them to do.
Yep.
And unless I'm paying top dollar, it's going to be on the bottom of the totem pole on their list of priorities, which I understand. So I'm teaching myself. And don't sell yourself short, Carly, because you might just sit here and talk, but you add a lot of value and people know it. And they say that.
Which I was just going through comments on some of the YouTube videos, and I was like so flattered. There are some kind people who are, I wanted to say thank you for the birthday wishes too. That was so kind. But also, people saying that I was a natural podcaster. I don't think I've told you this. Maybe I have. But when I first moved into the house that I'm in now, there's a guy in the neighborhood who I got to know, and he was like, I've always wanted to do a podcast. I don't know what I want to do a podcast on, but I know I want you to do it with me. And
Too bad.
So flattered. I was so flattered. So, yeah.
Wait, that's kind of weird. A dude?
Okay, when I say... he's like a 60-year-old retired guy. Very nice. He's in my ward. Weird. He's in my ward.
Okay.
So it's not like,
random.
I didn't get to know him in a weird way.
But what would he want to podcast with you on? And how did James feel about that?
Oh, James didn't care.
Okay.
It's kind of weird because if people don't know the LDS community, they would think it's weird. But he heard me speaking, like bearing my testimony and talking to other people. And he likes that I talk in stories. I teach in stories just like my dad does, and I think he just enjoyed all the,
What's his name?
Stories. His name is Jim.
Sorry, Jim. Too I don't think he'll listen bad.
To this. Maybe he will. I don't know. But
no,
yeah,
and that
nice
takes
guy.
me back to when, this is like 20 podcasts ago, but I was thinking, I wanted to tell my story. I wanted to talk about what has happened in trial, which again, I still want to talk about. And what happened when he left and all the things that I've been gag ordered for so long. But doing it by yourself is weird. And I didn't have anyone to kind of help circle everything out, And,
well, it's almost hard to gauge what people are interested in.
Yeah. And then not know what people don't know, because you'll bring things up like, wait, what does that mean? And what's
even
this?
like the background difference between growing up in Utah and not in Utah.
Right. Yeah.
There's
perspective.
Stuff like that.
And it's all relative and all those things. And so for a long time, I was like, I probably need to do it with someone. And then, I meet Carly and she has wisdom, probably beyond what she realizes that she has. And she out of nowhere says, you just need someone to ask you the questions. And I was like, ugh. And I said, well, then you do it, Carly. You come and do it with me. So too bad, so sad, Jim. But back to all the stress that I was talking about with, the setup and the installation and oh my gosh, we have this event May 9th and I still have a crap ton of laundry to do. And in fact, this week after this is a shout out to Coconut Carpet Cleaning. I had them come and do all my carpets because so many dogs have wet on the carpets, no matter how many times. It's not that they weren't potty trained, but they'd smell it from a dog from
Oh yeah. You're supposed to spray
ago.
Special stuff when they go in the house so that they don't do that. It's
right.
That very
and
thing.
of course I did not. So I tried to keep the doors shut, but if I wasn't home, kids would just keep the doors open. So they'd smell it and they'd go just to mark their territory. So anyway, my house reeked.
Think about that. This is what is so interesting is talking to you during the time that you had all these dogs. There are things that didn't even cross my mind that would be an issue. You just you literally don't know if you've never watched dogs before. Yeah. It's both fascinating and terrifying.
It really is because it's people's children. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's also your house.
Right.
And your children.
Yeah. And I kind of just let my house, I just kept saying, because there was dirt everywhere and there was spots everywhere. And I just would have to close my eyes. I swept 15 times a day, but I was like, oh my gosh, okay, just get through this week.
Yeah, I will say.
And then I'll be able to wash everything and carpet clean everything. So back
you just had to get the week.
Yeah, I had to get done with I watched dogs for 4 weeks straight.
Wild.
So,
but for the record, when I first came to Julie's house, kind of unannounced, I was just in the area. I can't remember why I stopped by, but I stopped by. I brought you a drink or something, and I
peanut
had
butter M&Ms.
Oh, that's right. Yes, and I had a kid with me. I think we were shopping close by your house. Anyway, I dropped in and announced, and your house was clean. Like, you keep a clean house.
I tried to.
You have the
It's my mom.
ADHD that keeps you moving and
Hyperactive?
cleaning.
Is that it?
Yeah. I have the ADHD that's like, meh, out of sight, out of mind. It's like, I got something in the other room. So if people stop by my house last minute, I'm like, if you're my real friend, I'll let you in my house. If you're not my real friend, I'm terrified. I mean, it's not that bad, but you are, I mean, being a mom and a wife for so long as I have, I get more and more, like, better and better at keeping it clean, but also more and more like aware of my faults and my flaws. And so I don't want to be perfect, but I also am like, I really do appreciate a clean house.
But
I'm just impressed.
Oh, thank you. But at the
you
same
have
time,
8 children and have such a clean home. So when you're talking about this, I just don't want people to have this idea in their head that Julie lives in filth. Julie does not live in filth.
Well, but that's also at the cost of my kids, like, not being able to breathe a little bit, as far as like, I'm on their case.
Yeah.
Pick that up. That needs to be picked up. Put this away. Make your bed.
Yes, there is a cost to it. And that's kind of why I don't do it, is because I just feel like I yell at my kids enough. I don't want that to be another thing.
And it's a weakness, because I feel like I'm constantly harping on them.
It's just give and take, right? Because then they get to come home and have a clean house. I don't yell at my kids for it, but then I come home and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
So there's just give and take. That's all it is. So anyway, I just wanted to clarify
thank you.
that you are a very clean
pig.
person. No. And that, so I imagine we were talking about these dogs, that it was very hard for you, and then it wasn't as bad as people are envisioning. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, so I had carpet cleaners come, and then I had the kids all grab big old blankets, because some of the dogs shed, which is
Nasty.
hard. Yeah, it's hard. Sweet dogs, but man, they just are leaving hair and that's why I didn't ever want a dog with.
Yeah, that's why you do the poodles. That's why so many do the poodles. Yeah.
But so I went and we all just grabbed these big chunks of blankets, and I was like, we're going to whitewash laundromat, and threw all of the so anyway, all that to say, between the laundry, the dishwasher, the homework, the May-cember coming up, and planning all, their after school, parties and end of year things and concerts, and then this event, like I've got stress balls.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I came here to Sundara to have my hormones checked with Justin Hewlett.
Oh, yes.
Who is the primary care doctor here. Uh-huh. And I've always wanted to do it. Everyone's getting their hormones checked. And I did blood work. So I went and got 5 vials drawn from one poke. So, but 5 vials, I was like, holy cow.
No,
and they just tested everything. Mm-hmm. So then I came back about 3 or 4 weeks later for my results. And I wasn't surprised by mostly all of them except for one, but maybe 2. But he said, like, oh, your testosterone is great. I was like, well, that would explain my manly voice. That would explain how hairy I was.
No, it comes from working out. Your testosterone, like, your levels increase naturally as you work out. And by the way, it's important for women to have testosterone.
Yes.
So it's good.
But like lots of women don't have enough, right?
Yes.
And so my testosterone's great because I'm part man, apparently.
You are not. I'm going to get all mine checked. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how they compare.
I just say that because I sing alto, low alto, and in this harmony group that I'm singing in this time around, I'm singing tenor. First freaking tenor.
I mean.
And I think I've said this to you before, but I have a hoarse, more raspy voice. Uh-huh. And when I was young, I had voice nodules, which are like calluses on your vocal cords. Okay. I was put on voice rest, and this is when I was a cute little performer at Lagoon, and I had these like bumps on my vocal cords. I mean, you can hear the raspiness in my voice. And I remember my phone ringing at home one day. This is when I was a young kid, and I answered, hello? And my grandma was like, is this Julie?
Oh, yeah, you did tell me this.
Yeah. And I was like, yes, how did you know? And she's like, I can just tell by your manly, husky voice. I was like, oh, okay.
You could have put that a little nicer, Grandma.
Yes. So testosterone was fantastic. Estrogen and progesterone, he said, are fantastic. He spent a lot of time on my ovaries and said, your ovaries are in great shape.
Yeah, that's how you could have kids every 18 months.
That's what I said. I'm like, well, that would explain 8 kids. And he's like, you could have more. I was like, holy cow, which I believe my periods are regular, like, every single month.
You are not in perimenopause yet.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? But I'm having night sweats in my sleep sometimes. And I'm sure it's just hormones.
What did he say about that?
I don't know. Maybe just age. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think that we all think, because it is kind of trendy, I think we all think that we're in perimenopause, right now.
Well, it is. I think it probably has a different speed for everybody, right?
Yeah.
So you could be at the very beginning, and maybe the night sweats come first and your eggs last for a long time after that.
Seriously.
Who knows?
So he's like, yeah, they are kicking. They're alive and well. I was like, ugh. I don't know how I felt about that. But then he said, what I was not expecting was that my A1C, I'm like, he's like, do you know what A1C is? I was like, I mean, I've seen it on commercials. Lower your A1C with this.
Yes. If anybody is curious, you can watch this interaction on
YouTube.
Yeah. It's your YouTube.
It's the Big Family Jewels.
Yes, that one.
I think it's my most recent upload, which says something like I didn't expect this or something.
Yeah.
And it says I got my hormones checked, but he said your A1C, he gave me these levels from 2 to 5 is normal, from 5.7 to 6.4, I don't know the numbers, is pre-diabetic, and from 6.4 up is diabetic. Mm-hmm. He said, you're at 5.8, which is pre-diabetic. And I just went, excuse me? Like, how does that happen? I lift 5 days a week. I don't eat crap. I don't drink soda unless it's Carly giving me some to keep me awake.
Well, now between the kidney stones and the diabetic stuff,
seriously,
I'm not going to be allowed to do that.
So I was like, he's like, look, I have morbidly obese people come in who are eating garbage and never working out, and their A1C is perfect. It doesn't run in my family.
It's wild.
Yeah. He's like, so sometimes this just happens, So he just said, lay off the carbs. I'm like, I hardly eat carbs. Like, I have a piece of toast in the morning. I don't eat carbs at dinner because I want to save my carb intake for a treat, which is not even every night. I'll have some ice cream at night, and it's the low carb ice cream for crying out loud. Gosh. And I eat a ton of protein. I just was like, explain this to me. Anyway, so apparently your A1C score in your pre-diabetic levels or whatever can be from stress. Stress increases your cortisol.
Yep.
And cortisol increases your blood sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh my gosh, this whole litigation, my freaking husband leaving me, all this laundry and dogs is killing me from the inside out.
Your breast exam that came back.
Yeah. Abnormal mammogram.
Same thing, right?
Yeah.
I will tell you though, so I've got some good friends that are in medicine in various places. Yeah. And I was talking to one of my best friends about my specific, my weight and my goals and whatever. And she said, very matter-of-factly, like, you're probably pre-diabetic. And I was like, what did you just say? I mean, this is over polo.
You're like offended.
And I was like, what? But then she was like, and we joke around, right? So she knows I'm not really offended. But
yeah.
She was like, Carly, just so you know, most people in the United States are pre-diabetic.
Yeah.
And she said it in that, like, if you're not in your situation, I think she would be surprised because you look so healthy and you do lift and you do all of that. But she was like, most people that are not at the gym all the time and being very careful with their food, they're pre-diabetic because just how Americans eat, what our culture is like.
Yeah.
And there's a book by Ben Bickman. You might actually really like it. And the only thing that I can think that I've learned from there is maybe the timing of when you eat your carbs. Like at night, that might be a problem, but
I don't know. Yeah. Well, that's not going to change. So
it is what it is. But the point is, if anybody is in this situation and Ben Bickman, he's a super well-respected metabolic guy at BYU, professor, PhD. He's incredible. But he has a book, and I'm pretty sure it's called Why We Get Sick. And it's all about this kind of stuff. It's all about managing your blood sugar and how to eat. And he talks about eating keto 80% of the time. But what was interesting to me was the timing of it. He's like, if you don't have a high protein breakfast, don't eat breakfast.
Right.
Have your biggest meal in the morning and your smallest meal at night, and things like that just help with your.
The only thing, and Justin gave me a whole bunch of supplements like berberine and things like that.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a natural GLP-1, I believe.
Oh, is it? Mm-hmm. So, I haven't gotten them yet because I don't know that I can even afford these supplements. Yes. Yeah. I can't even afford vitamins for my kids. Like, they get the vitamin C chewable from Costco and that's it. Mm-hmm. And that's if they get that,
You have 8.
I know.
Like everything is so dang expensive. And when I saw an ad for the first day vitamins, and my kids have ADHD. So I was like, I'm going to get these. It's on a good deal. And you buy 4 of them. And I'm like, holy crap, you have to mortgage the farm for this.
Yeah. And then it says, take 2 capsules a day. And you're like, wait, that's 16. I'm like through half the bottle.
Yeah, exactly.
So my kids don't get vitamins. I'm like, go out and sit in the sun, get your vitamin D. Like, sorry, I can't pay for like all these.
Do you ever see those Instagram reels and stuff where it's like, somehow we all managed to get through school without having our Stanley water bottles everywhere we went. Somehow we all lived and had enough water. It's kind of like there's all this stuff that supposedly we need, but it's like, do we?
I know. And all the freaking pioneers, and I don't know. I don't believe anything anymore after being through family court and putting your trust in a system that's supposed to protect you and all those things. And then it's really for profit. I'm like, everybody just wants money.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that will do that to you.
Yeah.
I mean, as I follow the Charlie Kirk stuff, I feel the same way. Mm-hmm. The more I look into politics, the more I feel the same way. Like I don't think it matters which side of the aisle you're on. They're all selling you a load of crap. They're all lying to you. They all I just don't believe in any of it anymore. Politics, and it's all powerful people wanting more power, more money.
Yep.
I mean, anyway, I think it's a load of crap. So
yeah,
it's hard to trust anybody's intentions anymore.
So I have been drinking, like I usually have a Premier Protein or a protein shake after my workout, which is still good, but I'm drinking that in the morning. So I get more protein, and then I'll eat the carb instead of having, anyway, it doesn't matter, but there's tons of things I guess that you can do. I feel fine. Is it like a silent deadly killer, like high blood pressure that I don't?
I think you need to pay attention to your symptoms. There's things like, exactly. So you're fine.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. I'm trying to think which one it is, but I
had a little bit of high cholesterol too.
What did he tell you about that?
Diet and exercise. I'm like, what the heck, man?
Yeah, that's what you do. Yeah. So, but I think it's cholesterol. Don't quote me. I'm obviously not a doctor. But one of them, the one that has more reference to your heart, is that correct? Cholesterol?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know. Anyway.
Probably.
But the moral of what I'm trying to tell you is the study that I was reading, and I was listening to a heart doctor, and they basically were saying for a long time, they'll say, oh, it's high, like your high cholesterol or whatever. You need to lower it, and they'd give you meds. And what they found out is like there is a genetic component to where entire families for generations sit at that high range and never have any heart attacks and are totally fine forever. It's just that their bodies sit at a higher level than other people. And if another person had that level, it would be bad.
Right.
But since it's their normal family resting cholesterol level, they don't even worry about it, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes I think we know too much in that we measure everything and we have a number to put towards a certain thing that we wouldn't have had otherwise. And so you worry about it when it doesn't mean anything. It's like, I just forgot about this until now. When my number 3, the one that I had after my miscarriage, so I'd go in. And obviously, I've experienced what it's like to go in for the 20-week ultrasound and have no baby. Like,
how many years had passed?
So this is 2 years past then. Took me a while to get, mentally able to do it. And I go in for the 20-week ultrasound, and I don't think they told me I know I remember seeing these bright lights on the screen, but I don't remember if it was that time or if it was checking on it. But it ended up being that he had cysts on his brain.
Oh.
And that was a whole different... They called me to tell me the bad news, basically, when I was at home. And at first, the nurse called me and said, okay, the results have come in from your ultrasound, and your baby has cysts on his kidneys. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? Like, I mean, I'm glad this time he's at least alive, but like, okay. So I called my father-in-law, actually kind of excited, not like in a morbid way, but like, oh my gosh, I have a urological problem. My urologist father-in-law is not going to tell me he can't help me. Like his famous line is, that's a North End problem for a South End doctor. And I'm like, you can help me about this. And he settles me down. He tells me all about it. And then the nurse comes back. She calls back and says, just kidding. That was a different chart. Your baby has cysts on his brain. And I was like, what in the actual hell?
Yeah,
Like I could deal with like the kidneys, but the brain situation. So anyway, we keep track of these, we watch them, and they end up saying, well, they tend to go away. We'll watch them at 30 weeks and at whatever. And they tend to go away by 34 weeks. So we detect them at 20 weeks and then, they'll go away and it should just fix itself, right? You won't have to worry about it. And I'm like, okay, so they worry me about nothing really. But then they tell me towards the end, they say, what we think happens is our imaging just gets better. And a lot of babies have cysts on their brain and we just didn't know.
Well, so
now we have all of this technology that's letting us know what's happening early on, and it's scaring us because now we know more, but we don't know what to do with that information.
This goes back to me talking about how I started to get more and more scared at the 20-week ultrasound because you know more.
Yes, exactly, because you know more. But that's so when you talk about this pre-diabetic stuff, this is all to say, don't stress too much about it, because there's stuff that you can do. If it gets worse, you can reverse it, right? Like they can put you on some medicine. It could sit like this in the pre-diabetic forever.
Yeah.
I have a sister-in-law who's basically been that way forever. So she just has to manage it with her diet.
It just made me mad. Okay.
Well, yeah, because it's like, after all you do, this is it, really. Like I'm the one that should have the pre-diabetic, not you.
No, not at all. But it's just a testament to my cortisol and the stress level. And that's why I go back to the dogs and the laundry and being a mom of 8 and having no support, if you catch my drift, and no help.
Yeah.
And constantly being in survival and fight or flight. Like I cannot relax. In fact, I had a dream. I was in court a few nights ago and my heart was racing in my sleep. But I was like, it's like my heart racing woke me up. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm even nervous in my sleep.
It's trauma.
Yeah. And I told Carly also, I had a dream that we were trying to podcast. We were struggling.
That was funny.
In Spain.
I will go to Spain. That would be cool.
But we were having a hard time. It's like having nightmares about being on stage and forgetting the dance. It's like a nightmare going to school and you have a test that you didn't study for. We all have those dreams.
The one I always have is that it's the end of the semester and I had a test or homework that I forgot to do.
Right. Yeah. Or
and I can't do it anymore.
Getting sent back on your mission when you're married and you have kids.
Yes.
Like you're having
or the class I forgot to drop. It's like the end of the year and I forgot that I had a class and I didn't go to it all semester. I've had those dreams.
They're awful.
So many times.
So it's like I can't even rest during rest.
Yeah.
And it makes me mad. Makes me real mad because I wake up and I'm like, what the heck, man? Like all of this trauma and stress. And I was diagnosed. I don't know if you can be diagnosed with it. Can you? With PTSD. Like I know
you can be diagnosed.
Yeah, I know that we say it in jest a lot. Like, oh my gosh, that gives me PTSD.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's an overused term, just like gaslighting.
Mm-hmm. Exactly that word, and narcissism too. Mm-hmm. But I went to a neuropsychologist and had her, and I did that because we wanted the petitioner to have a psych eval.
Oh,
and so Dana recommended to me, she was like, you need to go get one because in a trial or in a hearing, they'll say, well, then she should have to get one. She's like, and I would love for you to be able to say, I did. I already did. And here it is on file,
It's a good idea.
Yeah. And so I did.
If you got a psych eval and you didn't like it, is there a way you could hide that? Like, would you have to?
I think that if she said something about if I had already had my psych eval done, they can't request it because it was done before, like you can't, I don't know if it was like they can't subpoena medical records when it was done before they were
requested or something?
Something like that.
Yeah, because the thought just came to my mind. Like if somebody's listening to us right now and is like, oh, I want to do the same thing so I can ask for a psych eval for my person. Well, what if they go and they get the psych eval done and they don't like what it says, right? Then is it going to bite them in the butt to have it?
I don't think so, just because...
They can't make you show it to them.
It's like personal mental health.
Okay.
But I think that you can if it's requested and ordered by the court.
Okay.
But because I did it before it was ever ordered, then it's private. Okay. I think I would have to check with, but that's why she told me to do it.
That sounds logical to me. I just want to make sure we're not like encouraging somebody to do something bad.
But here's the thing. I mean, she did diagnose me with PTSD and she diagnosed me with depression. And it all made, I was like, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And I was like, well, crap. If I hand this over to the judge and he sees that I have trauma and I'm PTSD, I'm depressed, I have high anxiety, is he going to say, well, yeah, she shouldn't have the children.
She's unfit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And Dana was like, and I'm like, what about when I spent some money to go and do Shield Maiden, this boot camp? She's like, no, this is all good. You spent money to go and do something to improve your mental health, to be better for your kids. And yes, you're going to be diagnosed with PTSD and depression because of what the petitioner has put you through. And this is a normal trauma response. And you're doing all you can by taking
to deal with it,
medicine.
To cope.
Yeah.
You're doing it in a healthy way because I think what is more likely to happen in these situations is people will turn to drugs and alcohol and unhealthy behavior. So to say you have a normal response, I mean, first it kind of proves that what you're saying has happened actually happened. Yeah. You're not making it up just so that he looks bad, right? So it actually happened. You're having a normal response, and then you're responsibly handling it. You're getting help. Yeah. You're doing mature, things that will help you in the long run, not just putting a Band-Aid on it.
Right.
You know, so I do think that it looks really good, but it's all in how you spin it, I'm sure.
Right. So I did the Psych Eval. I mean, and it took like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
They ask you all these, oh my goodness.
They're a big deal. It's a big deal.
But it was covered by insurance.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I didn't have to pay a dime for it. So I did that before. So at least I had it. And if it was requested, or I would just say it's done, but they don't get to have the records. That's what Dana said to me because I don't know, HIPAA, or because it was before. Yeah. So
I'm sure you could voluntarily give it to them if they complied with your request.
Right. Which that never happened. So anyway, all that to say is I've been super bugged at that diagnosis and just mad because I'm like, mad at myself for letting him take my power, you know, and my ability to enjoy the journey.
But you know what it is? It's just proof that you're human. Yeah. Right? Like if his behavior didn't have a negative effect on you, you would feel like you weren't human, right? Like, of course it's going to affect you negatively. How could it not? Being abandoned and left to raise kids by yourself with no help. And I mean,
and I remember his attorney during trial saying, but really, was it abandonment? Was it really abandonment? I see you said here on your letter, because I wrote emails to the teachers to say, please excuse or forgive or have grace for my kids if they have a bad day. They've been abandoned by their dad, and so have I, and we're struggling, blah, blah, blah. So they asked for all records that, you know, if I had written to a coach, if I had written to a teacher, they requested all of that. And I handed everything over. We requested the same thing, but received nothing in return. So you get punished for doing all the things right. And they just there's no consequence. There's no punishment for him not turning it in. It just ended up.
Well, because you can't prove that something exists, right? Yeah. So it's easier to take something that, you know exists, like an email to a teacher that they know you wrote.
But I didn't have to turn it in. I could have just said there aren't any. But I did because it was requested, and I'm trying to follow the court order.
And you're honest.
Yeah. So I sent it, and they said, we see here that you said he abandoned you. But doesn't he come see the kids every now and then? But doesn't he pay it when he can, what he can? And I was like sitting in trial, and my lawyer said, answer the yes or no question. Don't indulge or don't offer more. Like, well, but when he came this time, then he has, gives you more ammunition to ask something else, Yeah. So I was like trying to think, like, how do I answer this question? Like, and he's like, but tell me, was that really abandonment when he does show up sometimes? And is that really abandonment when you do get paid every now and then? Even though, just totally trying to lawyer me.
Basically, you should be grateful for any tiny little thing that you get. Just be grateful.
Right.
Yeah.
And so even on the stand, you're kind of like, and then you feel like I was unsure of myself. Like,
well, of course. That's the whole point. Yes. They're trained to do that.
Was I abandoned? Or am I taking this too far? And I'm like, no, that is abandonment. He has abandoned his priesthood obligations, his fatherly obligations, financial obligations, emotional obligations, physical. I mean, like, yes.
You know, I think not in the moment, I wouldn't have had my wherewithal, but now that I'm sitting here, if I ever had that asked of me, I would say, well, when you're on a boat in the ocean and the title is in your name and you jump off the boat and you don't come back ever, you let somebody else live in that boat and don't ever come back, like set foot on that boat. Is that boat abandoned? Well, that's my house and I live in it with my 8 kids by myself. So yes, I have been abandoned. It's not a yes or no answer, but I have a really hard time with yes or no answers. I would be a terrible witness on the witness stand because I would probably tell the lawyer asking me questions why the question itself had false logic in it.
Yeah. And so it's
That's
hard.
a logical fallacy. You cannot say that.
It's hard being on the stand because you want to keep the answers short, but you can hear me now. I'm talking a ton.
Yeah.
You have to rein yourself in and be like, don't say that, because you want to appear credible to the judge. You have to appear, what's the word? Like, well put together.
You have to be level-headed and like
not emotional,
easily rattled. Yeah.
You have to appear as though you have it all together.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it hurts if you got emotional, but like, that's why I was always puzzled with Elizabeth Smart when she was testifying. She was like poised and like, no, she'd say to the attorney, I do not believe that the respondent was this or that. And I was like, what? Why do you say he raped me over and over and I was kidnapped? But she wasn't, she was like using big words and very like condensed. She was
articulate.
Yes. Like her versions of eloquent, all the things that she was saying was just like, I believe that the respondent was mentally sane during his blah, blah, blah. Instead of, I was like, if I were you, I'd be saying, no, he's freaking crazy.
Yes.
But you learn, like I did with Dana, there's court courtesy, etiquette.
Yes, etiquette. Yep.
And it's annoying.
Yeah.
Because you cannot really explain the story and how it really went, without those words, he full on left. He abandoned all of us. He ditched us, deserted us, left us for the dust, kicked me to the curb, you name it.
Right.
It had to be, no, I believe that the petitioner left because he did not want this life anymore. Like, you have to be delicate.
Well, I might have mentioned him before. Peter Tragos is the lawyer on YouTube. He is so fascinating to watch, but he brings people together and his comment section is like his jury pool. He likes to cover trials and explain things on camera, and then people ask questions. And he likes to do it because it informs him of what his juries that he will do in his own trials, with how they think, right? And as I've watched these, it's super interesting because it doesn't matter what somebody says or what somebody does. Your own experience informs your thought process and how you judge scenarios and situations and people, right? So somebody could look a certain way and have a certain like outfit on and a certain face on the stand or whatever. And some people will love it and just support them and just love them from the beginning. And some people hate it, right? That goes for the judge, for the attorneys, for witnesses. And so I think what they try and do with what you're trying to describe is put you in a situation that makes you easy for the jury to like, and for more people in the jury to find nothing wrong with you, right? There's less for people to say, oh, well, she doesn't speak articulately, so she doesn't know what she's talking about. Or she's so angry, she must just be here because it's retaliatory.
Yeah,
or
she's trying to punish him.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, you have to be so neutral so you are believable almost.
But I always thought like, well, if I show no emotion and if I'm like, no, yes, I believe that. No, I don't believe so. That I didn't care.
Yeah.
And that the judge would be like, well, she seems just fine. And she's just calm. Like, why are we here?
People always will judge your reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, if you watch trials on any sort of crime show ever, there are always comments about, well, did you hear the 911 call? What was their first reaction? Or how did they talk to the people on the other side or whatever? It's like they're judging their response to this trauma.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how people respond. It's never the right way.
Right.
And so it's like people will say,
like they showed no
you
remorse.
weren't passionate enough, or you were too passionate or whatever. Right. So it's like,
It was hard. It was hard to know how to answer these questions because I wanted to rip into his attorney. And be like, you freaking have no idea what you're talking about. And you're representing someone who is making you look real bad. You know?
I honestly will never forget walking out of that courtroom for one of the breaks. And one of the women who had come to support you, who was so excited about something that had happened. And she was like, look at how mad that lawyer is, because that lawyer came at her. Like, so this woman.
What do you mean he came at her?
Like her own trial. She was there to support you because she'd been through it.
Oh.
And he was the lawyer who was coming at, like, against her.
Okay.
And her, like, representing her ex.
Yeah.
And so she was just like so happy to see this other attorney kind of struggle a little bit and be mad because of what he had done to her in court.
And that's another thing I noticed is his attorney would kind of flail his arms a little bit and he'd stand up and he would, for example.
Oh, he was passionate.
Yeah. And you like think that you want that. Like we all say, oh, I want an aggressive lawyer. I want a pit bull in the courtroom.
Yeah.
I said the same thing. But really I discovered, I've said this before, I wanted someone honest, someone who has integrity, which is why I hired Steve Christensen with Christensen Law and West Hutchins.
He was so good.
Yeah. Because he would say something to the petitioner and it was clear as day what he was asking. And petitioner would say, I don't get it. I don't understand the question. And Steve would say, I'm sorry, I wasn't very clear. Let me reword this. Instead of like, what do you mean you don't get it? It was like, yes or no, or whatever. You know, he was kind, which was annoying for me, but that's also respected.
Well,
in the courtroom.
If you watch, I don't want to say I'm a connoisseur of body cam footage, but I have watched a lot. And the police that tolerate things that nobody else would tolerate and are respectful to people that nobody else would be respectful to, you watch it and all I do is have mad respect for those cops, right? And all I want to do is help them and be on their side, right? And this is the same thing. When I saw Steve in court, I was a little bit like, are we for real right now? Like, can we get a little bit more passionate? I mean, he's strategic. Yeah. I mean, it was almost monotone. But as I watched more and more of his lawyering, it was just like, it was almost like a power move of like, you can't get under my skin. Right. You're not going to. And then when the judge got ticked off at him, it was almost like, but is the judge mad? I think he knows that Steve is so strategic in what he did that made the judge mad. The judge had to be mad at Steve, but he wasn't really. He like respected the way he was doing it. And that was masterful. And he had to do what he did because we never received the financial information from the petitioner. So we had to go through each and every page of each and every bank statement over the last 2 years. It was so boring. It was so boring and gruesome. Like what was the words he used? This is, like painfully monotonous or something. He said it was. And the judge was like, or something. Yeah. Do you really have to do this? And Steve was like, yeah, I do. He's like, I do. This is the only way that we can get this on the record because we never received the financial declarations and things that we needed. I think it was devastating for the petitioner's side of things because it made him seem less competent when you went through all of these individual transactions. Because he's losing also interest, right? Because you've got ADHD on the stand and it's 2 hours of questioning. Was this an expense? Or was this was this an expense for business or was this personal? And after a half hour, he's getting annoyed and sick of it. And so he'd say, I don't know. No, I don't know. And so I remember sitting there, then was on the record. Yeah. Yeah. But I remember sitting there being like, wait, he owns his own business. He works for himself. And we're going over one bank statement for all of the business. And he has to tell us what was business and what was personal. And I was like, because he never submitted that. And so we had to ask. It's not normal to have a business and a personal bank account together. Right. And so I was just like, this is. Well, because he wouldn't take advice. To me, having talked to you and understood what happened, to me, it spoke to the fact that you really are the one with the resume. You really are the one that did everything. You were like the accountant and the business strategist and everything. And the hoe. I mean. Really, that's what first comes to my mind because it's the most sacred. And it's the thing that was, I think,
in the end taken advantage of, which bothers me the most because it's intimate, you know?
Yeah.
But yes, bookkeeper, secretary, chauffeur, cook, launderer. I mean, all the things that moms do, right?
Yeah. But I'm just thinking on a business side, like, you know, I'm talking to you and you're like, I had to buy it with my business account, you know, like you would never put your business and your personal together. Yeah. It's just not what you do in business.
Well, and the hilarious part is when his forensic accountant was on the stand, he was the very first witness, and he paid $30,000 for that forensic accountant. So I think we've talked about this, because when you pay for a forensic accountant that much money, you think that that accountant is going to ding you. Like they're going to find all the good things.
Oh,
like,
sure.
Oh yeah, this was an expense. Oh yeah, this was an expense too. And so he went through all of the petitioner's bank statements line by line. And then Steve had the brilliant question and said, so tell me, Mr. Wells, whatever his name was, did you ever talk to the petitioner? Did you ever ask him if this was indeed a business expense? Because I see here that you grouped this car rental as an expense, but you also counted this $400 charge for, I don't know, items at the store as business expense. And he's like, well, I just figured that if he was renting a car somewhere, that he was on a business trip. And so then that transaction following for $400 was also a business expense. He's like, so you assumed that? He's like, well, that's our methodology. He kept saying, that's the methodology that I used. And he said, did you ever talk to the petitioner? Like, if that was indeed an expense? He's like, well, no, I didn't. And he's like, well, so what's this $25,000 expense that you have here? What was that for? And then it was silent for 20 minutes as he like scrolled on his computer looking for this $25,000 charge. And it was awkward. And it was on purpose. Because I'm looking at Wes. I'm like, Wes, he's like, no, you want silence. Because you know he's scrambling. He's scrambling to find, how did you come up with that being an expense? A business, especially, how do you know that's an expense if you never talked to the petitioner? What made you assume that that was a business? And turns out that $25,000 was credited to me, you know, like what's the word? Like it didn't count for his expenses. It counted as a personal expense, which then he has to pay me half of, you know, or whatever, however
That's
that
wild.
Works. But that was what we did for 4 hours, line by line.
And that's the part of trial that I was there for.
I know, I'm so sorry. Oh,
it was entertaining to some degree.
Boring.
It was the first time I'd actually been in a courtroom.
And that's what I was going to say, because it really is like the movies. I stood up, I put my hand up, and swore under oath that I would tell the truth. And
it was so quiet you could hear a pin drop.
Ugh. And then they're saying objection, sustained, overruled. They're using all the words. And I think one thing that I loved about Steve was that he knows the rules of law, and he knows the rules in the courtroom. So for example, he'd be sitting there and his head is down low and he's just writing down notes. He's not even looking. This is when the judge is talking with TR. He's just looking down and writing.
That's the attorney. When the judge is talking to the other attorney.
Steve would just be looking down, listening. And I'm like, is he distracted? Like, I'm like looking over at him, and suddenly he'd go, objection, leading. And I was like, what? So whatever leading meant. But when when the petitioner's attorney would talk, he'd say, objection, that doesn't make any sense. I didn't see that proof. I didn't see that. And then he would get overruled, because one of the rules in the courtroom is you can only follow the word objection with one word. So he'd say, objection, leading. Where the other attorney was like, objection, you can't do that. That's it. And he'd start explaining, and the judge is like, no, because it's a rule.
Well, and I think that's different. I think that's specific to the state and the court.
Could be. And it could be specific to a judge.
Well, exactly what I was going to say, because some judges, that's what this Peter Tragos guy talks about, is he's like, in this courtroom, he's like, I don't like it, but this judge says you cannot follow it up. It's just objection. You don't say why, right? So they have to assume that the judge knows why.
Yeah.
And Peter in this one case is like, I hate that, but that's what this judge wants,
right.
you know? And so I think because Steve has done it long enough, I think he can read the judges and know what they want, or he already knows because he's worked with them, right? So he can anticipate it. And act accordingly.
And so he says objection leading or objection, whatever the one word is, to cue
hearsay.
To cue the judge in on like what the objection is for, instead of giving some big, long drawn out explanation. The judge would oftentimes listen to the opposing counsel. And I'm like, what the heck? Well, he's not saying one word. He's not saying the rule of one word, and you're letting him talk. So what the heck, Steve? Like, say something. But it's all, is it formalities? It's all like, I just know that he's following the rules.
Yeah. Yeah. You can
and the
trust
judge
that he's not
knows
missing it. Yeah.
And Steve was like, yep, I'm listening for that one word. Because like another thing that happened was, this is getting long, but I bought my condo when I was 25 years old. And it was premarital money.
I was here for this.
Yeah, premarital money. So we were trying to prove that when we sold the condo, there was $50,000 of equity or whatever, right? So I used that $50,000 to buy our house.
Down payment on your house.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
And so we were trying to prove that that $50,000 was premarital money from the condo that I bought before we ever got married. And so I had a paper that the petitioner had signed that said, I have nothing to do with this house. This belonged to Julie before we ever got married, and he signed it. And we put that in as an exhibit, but we didn't, it was too late. Like I had found it late. I was like, I didn't even know I had it.
Okay.
So when the petitioner's attorney is talking about, well, let me back up. Steve tries to bring it into trial. He's like, I have a document here that states that the petitioner signed away all of his interest in the home in the condo because they didn't even we're married. This is premarital. And then opposing counsel says, I didn't hear anything about this. He stands up, he gets all super frustrated. No, you can't use that, because before a trial, both attorneys, both sides have to hand each other every piece.
Yes, all the evidence.
All of the exhibits, which I never understood why, and it bothers me, but you'd have to hand over so everybody can see everything.
Well, yeah, you have to have a defense.
Yeah.
You can't create a defense if you don't know what they're bringing.
Yeah. Which is so annoying. I just wanted to be able to surprise them, hit them with it.
But then they can do it to you, and then that sucks.
And it's just because I had nothing for them to have on me,
Yeah, yeah.
But just one of those rules. And so Steve brings it up, knowing that has not been submitted as
not
evidence.
Admissible.
And so freaking opposing counsel, he stands up. I've never seen that. That was not submitted beforehand. And so Steve knows, and so it was denied. He said overruled.
Yeah, I remember that.
And we were like, crap. So then we had to strategize, and he's like, okay, get on the stand. I'm going to ask you the questions. Basically, put on the record what this paper shows.
Yeah.
So I've said under oath, I bought this house. I explained the paper, and it was like, that was good enough, like to explain what was on the paper, because I said it on record under oath exactly what the paper was. But then Steve said to me, because the judge did not do this, and he should have, but he said, even though he denied the paper as inadmissible, the petitioner's lawyer
attorney,
brought it up again. And if you bring up that topic
once he brings
again,
it up, then it is admissible.
How do you know all this, Carly?
I watch a lot of the lawyer, Peter Tragos.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I love law.
So really, if it was mentioned again, then it opens the gate again, opens the door.
He opened the door when he said this, and then the judge will say, yeah, you did. No, you have to let it in.
Yes. Yeah. And he did open the door. And so Steve tried again, and it was overruled again.
Yeah, I was pissed.
Yeah. And so was Steve. He was like, no, the judge was wrong on that. But what's Steve going to do? Okay, Your Honor. And I'm like, no.
And I think it's not a jury trial.
Right.
So even though the judge was wrong on that, he still knows. He still saw it. He still knows.
And it still went in my favor.
Yeah, he still heard you on the stand, so he knows.
Yeah, and I said it under oath, but it sure would have been nice to just, because the judge did say when his opposing attorney's like, no, I didn't see that. That was not submitted beforehand, Your Honor, which I wanted to give him the bird, because I was like, do you know how much stuff was not submitted to us?
Yeah.
I mean, just recently I had to file a motion to get the petitioner just to respond, let alone give us the documents you're supposed to give it. And I know that there are women listening right now that are like, oh my heck, that was the story of my life. He never handed over the stuff. And there's no one that can force you or force them to do it. You know, so if you don't have it, you can't use it as evidence.
Right.
Which is so maddening because I handed all the stuff over like I should have, and I was punished for what I sent over because they used it against me.
Sure, of course.
You know? Yeah, which is the point, but it's just like so wrong and unfair and unjust, and it's life, and it sucks in court. But
the only good thing here is that it was not a criminal trial. That's happening in like the Charlie Kirk case. That's a big one that a lot of people are watching. And they still haven't. I don't care, like the guy that's on trial, Tyler Robinson. I don't care if he did it or not. I want the right guy to go to jail. And I am a firm believer in innocent until proven guilty, right? But the media is just guilt. This is nobody. How do you know? There's been no trial. They're just decided that he's the guy. And if you say anything to the contrary, people will just lose their minds, right? But if you're listening to these, they've had a lot of, I forget what the name is, but they go to court and they have to talk about, can cameras be in the courtroom and all of this stuff, right? They still haven't seen the gun. The gun is still with the FBI. They haven't, like, so much of this evidence, they haven't even seen a cell phone. So they cannot create a defense for this guy who is on trial to lose his life, right? He could not just go to jail, but he could lose his life in the state of Utah, right? And so if they go for the death penalty, like, you have to know that this is without a shadow of a doubt, right? This is beyond, if it's a civil trial, you have to think that like, oh yeah, 51% of me thinks that these people are guilty and now they have to pay money. This is 100% of you is 100% sure that this guy did it, right? And they still don't have all of the stuff that they're supposed to have. The FBI hasn't supposedly given it to the state so that they can't share it with the defense. Like it's crazy. So at least in this, you're not looking at jail time, right? But it's still like, that is a strategy where they do not give you the evidence until they absolutely have to, so that you don't have time to defend it.
Exactly.
And it is wrong.
Yeah.
The law is not written that way.
Right.
It is wrong.
Yeah.
100%.
It's like, happening to women all over. Well,
like
and
with
men
your forensic accountant, they didn't let your forensic accountant in because you didn't get it in time. Why did you not get it in time? Because the petitioner wouldn't give you the information for the forensic accountant to work on.
And they said, oh, it was untimely. Well, and then
of course it was.
Well, Your Honor, it was untimely because we didn't get the deadline information by the deadline from the petitioner. And then they'd argue back and forth, and then it'd fizzle, and then something else would come up. But like, and this particular judge didn't want any witnesses. So even though everything was turned in on time, he found something to make it so that witnesses could not come, because Steve was like, well, apparently this judge just does not want witnesses altogether. He's just going to find any rule he can to get rid of them because he just wants to hear from what were we called? Just me and him, me and the petitioner.
The involved parties or whatever.
The parties.
It's because another thing I've learned by watching these trials is that there's always an expert that you can pay to be on your side.
Exactly. Which is why he paid $30,000.
Yes.
And he came to trial and he was on the stand for 3 hours. And
you pay them to do that. You pay them hourly.
They're called hired guns.
Yeah. And you pay for their hotel, their food, whatever. And every case has them.
Yep.
I mean, you could look at somebody and know they are guilty as sin. And there's still going to be an expert who says otherwise.
Yeah. Because they were paid.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, I think that's kind of why the judge was like, we're going to skip this BS.
Yeah.
I already know that you're going to have people that are going to testify. I want to know what you have to say. And I want to know, because in a jury trial, I mean, there was just a big case. This really is getting long. We should stop. But there was a recent case of a police officer who was on trial for, I think it was manslaughter. I didn't pay a super close attention to the case until the end because she chose a trial without the jury. It was just by judge. But she did that because there were so many nuances in this. I want to say it was either police against police or police against a first responder.
How can you choose not to have a jury? How is that even up to you?
You get to decide.
Really?
Yeah.
As a defendant or?
Yeah. You can say, I only want the judge to decide. I don't know if there's special situations where you can't, but there are times that it makes more sense because a judge will understand, again, the nuances and they're around the, like,
you hope that they
do.
You
do. But the chances of one person who's around all of this and knows the law the chance that they will be easily manipulated isn't great. The chance that you can pull stunts to get the jury to see and hear things that they shouldn't see and hear and all of that, like you can't do that with a judge.
Yeah.
And so you also, if you're a cop, you know, the judge understands that culture and all of that. And so this is a female cop that her kid had been taken away and she had been accused, I think, of murder. And choosing the judge instead of the jury is what saved her. And she got off.
Wow.
I mean, it was an important decision and it was the right one.
Wow.
So anyway, how did I get to that?
Well, I was just going to say, to kind of round it all out and finish this off, that when I was basically granted $50,000 worth of equity to me. So I got a lot more equity in the final ruling than he did.
Because of that document. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and then, you know, he gave me more equity and canceled out all of his arrears, which was back pay. So I ended up having like 3 times the equity than he did. Mm-hmm. And so currently he's in the arrears again. And so we have offered a global settlement and said, hey, we will wipe out all of your arrears in exchange, or in exchange for equity, or is it the other way around? We'll give you, basically you'll have a clean slate. Mm-hmm. And there's been no response. So it's been the same thing happening over and over and over again. And I had a lawyer tell me that, like, you have to drag them to the finish line.
Yeah.
You have to be the one enforcing everything. And I'm like, and he was the one that filed. So I'm like, that makes sense. Like, I can see how the respondent would be dragging their feet, but I'm the one trying to get him to the finish line on something he began. And I'm like, isn't that the story of my whole marriage?
Well, yeah, because here's the thing. People don't get divorced knowing what it actually means a lot of the time. They think, I don't want to be married anymore.
Well, that's
so
what
I'm
he
going
said
to
to
sign
me.
a paper.
That's what he said to me. He's like, everything is just, because when I offered to him, like the therapist said, we'll offer him if he's serious and he really wants to do this, and say, okay, well, I'll stay home 4 days of the week and you can come home 3 nights of the week, and I'll get a job and you get a job, and you know, you do your job. I'll have more days at home, but on those 3 days I have to go to work and you stay home. And that's when he said, well, that's not going to work for me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, well, what do you want to do? What would you like to do? What would work for you? And he said, well, let's just leave it how it is. Everything stays the same. You stay in the house, you keep the kids, and basically I'll go off to frolic in the meadows with whoever I want, whenever I want. So that was what he wanted and what he expected. And I was like, you are up in the night if you think I'm not going to go get an attorney to fight for me, because you are screwing me over, you know. And when I talked to someone, they said to me, well, you know what, his job really has been curtailed. And I was like, well, really? Well, what do you think happened to my ability to earn when the dude walked out the door? Like mid life, you know, it's like,
you didn't have that option. What would happen right now if you did the same thing he did? What happens to those kids?
I know.
Are you kidding?
I know.
You don't have that. And so how do you do both? How do you take care of the kids and have a full-time job? The answer is you can't right now.
No.
That's it.
And that's why I've had to apply for everything, which leads us all back to the beginning of this podcast, was the stress. The fight or flight, the survival, the anxious dreams, the not being able to relax, and being pre-diabetic. I'm like, he's killing me from the inside out, you know? And it makes me so mad.
Which adds another layer to these comments about you should forgive him. And there was one comment about not retaliating. And I was like, there's no retaliation. This is survival. Mm-hmm. There's no retaliation. This is like,
I mean, I just saw a post, I think I sent it to you, where the guy was like, well, we don't know. Maybe she was a manipulative and a liar and a cheater, and maybe she's abusing him. I'm like, what the crap, people? Like, I didn't do anything. Sure, I was controlling. Sure, I wore the pants, you know, whatever it is that he accused me of. Sure, I'm the reason that you're not successful. I'm controlling your life. I don't say I love the kids enough. I don't say I'm not loving enough. Like, you can say all these things about me. Those are the reasons he told me that he left. I took his manhood. But at the end of the day, somebody had to be the man.
You have to step up. If you're not going to do it, I have to do it. Mm-hmm. I mean, At the end of the day, one of the things that drives me the craziest is just when people don't take responsibility for their own actions. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at it either, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah, I'm sitting here saying, yeah, I was some of those things. And
exactly. And so
agree.
that's the thing is it's like, we have to say we had a part in this, but for you to blame everything on somebody else and say like, I had to leave because you. I mean, my 4-year-old said, Mom, you should have done this today. And I was like, you do not blame anything on me, child. Mm-hmm. You could have done this, right? Like, I just want my kids to learn that you have to take, there's a talk my brother showed me. I've got to read it again. It's on like radical responsibility, like just taking responsibility for your own crap. Do not blame anything on anybody else and then see where your life goes, right? You're never going to get anywhere by blaming anything on anybody else.
Yeah.
So,
and it's hard. It's like this, it's a hard reality to look deepest. And I think like I did that to a detriment, because there are those of us that will sit there and shred ourselves, rip ourselves apart, trying to, it's like looking for the one missing piece to a puzzle, and you're scavenging the house to find it. Some of us that are, willing to take accountability are digging ourselves apart, looking for what it is, what's the missing piece about me? What didn't I do? I wasn't enough. I mean, I've said that before, I wasn't pretty enough. The sex wasn't enough. Nothing.
Having 8 babies wasn't enough. Raising them wasn't enough. The YouTube channel
never would have been enough.
Nothing was enough.
But I sat there and dug through myself, tearing myself apart. Like and
why did you do that? Because he didn't take any accountability, right? You should never, taking radical responsibility does not alleviate that from somebody else, right? You can look inside yourself and say, this was my part. I could have fixed this. But you were willing to say that and stay married.
Yeah.
Right?
And I even said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I will fix those things, right?
Yeah.
That's part of the radical responsibility, is acknowledging it and then fixing it, right? And calling out somebody else's flaws and expecting them to fix it, that has nothing to do with you. And what has to do with you is, what are your flaws and what are you going to do to fix them?
Yeah.
Don't expect anybody else.
He had already checked out.
Yeah.
Because I begged, and I have a recording of me saying, please. And he just kept saying no. He had already, and he kept saying, this is my decision. And I remember him saying the words, I think I've said this before. Do you think that I would sacrifice the love of my kids if I didn't know that I have to do this? And I was like, what did you say? He goes, well, my kids hate me. I said, they don't hate you. They love you, and they want you to come home. He said, well, do you think that I would sacrifice the love that my kids have for me if I didn't believe that I had to do this? And I was like, you are freaking crazy. Why do you think that you have to? Then don't do it. This is harder than being homeless. Then don't do it. This is the hardest phone call I have to make, when he told me over the phone, actually, I'm going to go through with it. Then don't do it. If this is the hardest thing, like, this is salvageable, and it's painful to think about. And I haven't even shared the things that he's really said that are really painful, just to save face on the podcast, so people don't think, oh, she's just trying to punish him and she's trying to find all his flaws. And are we perfect? We shouldn't be judging. Like, there are some not good things that were said, that I could blast on the voice memos on my phone that are recorded. Oh. You know what I mean? And it's hard to think back on the things he said. And sometimes I'll sit in the shower and just like stare, because something comes back into my mind that was said to me. Not saying that I'm perfect either, but I did not blame him like he blamed me. I did not yell at him. I tried to be forgiving. I had a little thing from President Kimball on my fridge that I cut out of the end sign that said, quick to forgive. Because I tried to forgive, and
it's the same as what we've talked about, all these other things on other podcast episodes, where it says, in an ideal world, radical responsibility is on both sides, right? It doesn't work on just one side. Like, you cannot blame yourself. Nothing will ever be successful in a relationship if one person is doing it. Yeah. And so at the end of the day, all you can do is what you can do. And you've got to stop blaming yourself, right? Because you do take you are taking responsibility. That's the thing that bugs, is like, you're here taking care of the 8 kids that you created. You could have walked out.
Yeah.
You didn't. You are staying with the kids. And, you know, when people like to judge or say, we don't know, or I'll tell you what I know. I know who has the kids. I know who's there every day.
And
I know
then
who's watching.
Well, she's alienating them. There's another legal tactic. Well, she's withholding. She's brainwashed them. She's turned them against me. She kicked me out of the house.
Well, I'll tell you this. I love children. I
Yes, you
love,
do.
love, love my children. But it's hard to be a mom.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to be a mom, especially when you have no money. But to have 8 kids is unfathomable for me. That's a lot of kids. And as much as you would hate somebody who walked out on you, as much as you'd want to stick it to him, I would be drowning and I would be wanting his help. I would not be doing anything that would drive his help away or take the money away. And I think I would go crazy all by myself and I'd be like, yeah, I'll take those date nights. I'll be on the apps. I'll go do all those fun things. You do this. Mm-hmm. I would not be alienating anyone, ever, because I would be miserable by myself.
There's a video that I shared on Instagram, and the woman and the man are divorcing, and she says, this custody agreement isn't working for me. And he said, you can't take the kids away from me. They're my children, just as much as they are yours. And she's like, I agree with you. I want you to have soul physical, and I will do every other weekend. She's like, I think that's great. I can go and vacation, and I think this will be great. And you can have them as much as you want, and I'll just come on the weekends, every other weekend, in fact, and one night a week if I feel like it. And his jaw like drops, and he's like, like flabbergasted.
Yeah.
You know, because he's already automatically assuming, oh, she's taking them away from me. She's like, no, let's just flip the custody.
Let's reverse roles. I mean, I wouldn't want to give up any time with my kids on an emotional level.
Right.
But like, I know myself well enough,
We all need
especially
breaks.
you have one hard kid, you have an easy kid, totally different story. But you get a hard kid and you're like, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yep.
I need help. I would not want to. Most women who love their kids don't want to alienate. The ones who have to take them away, it's not because they don't want the help. It's because the ex is actually abusive. It's because they have to save their kids. It's because they are the pieces of them that gave birth to them are the pieces that are trying to save them.
Right.
It's not like every ex's dream to alienate and make sure they have to do everything on their own.
Yeah.
That's not normal. It's not the whole alienation thing. I just am like, well, yeah, I can see vindictive women doing it, but it's like 1 out of every 10. I mean, and I've actually watched women do this and accuse their exes of stuff they didn't do, like horrible things. And they live this life of alienation for a while. And this one in particular that I'm thinking of, they ended up back together because you could see her eyes open and be like, oh, this is hard. Oh, this is impossible. Oh, I can't do this by myself. Oh, he's not that bad. Oh, okay. I think I'll go back to, you know what I mean? It was like this, you could see like the lights turning on in the situation where you're like, it's like that part in Princess Bride where he says, I do not think that word means what you think it means. You know, it's like, oh, that's reality.
Yeah.
You have to, part of this podcast is to remind people that divorce is hard and sticky and it is not the easy way out.
Especially when one of you wanted it and the other did not.
But you have to, I had a conversation with my mom this week. You have to pick your hard. You have to pick your hard. Whether you stay married and you get help or you get divorced, it's all hard.
My friend says, we can do this the hard way or we can do this the harder way.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. So I just think we don't want to glorify divorce. We don't want to tell people that they can't get divorced or they shouldn't get divorced. You just have to have a realistic idea of what it means. I mean, when I was struggling, the idea of having to give my kids over to an ex who was dating, I have no idea who for how long, and introducing my kids to I don't know what, that was enough to give me pause. I'll tell you that much. Right? Like, not to scare anybody, but to just realize what's reality. What are you really looking at?
That's why a lot of women don't do it. They're trapped in abusive marriages, but they're like, I don't want to give up.
They're choosing a different hard.
Yeah.
And that's why I have a lot of respect for whatever choice a woman makes, right? We think that we know better.
Or a man.
Right? But we think anybody thinks on the outside of a situation they would do something, and usually it's different than what's happening. But the truth is, we have no idea what's happening. And all we can do is offer resources and perspective and remind women how capable they really are.
That's right. That's part of the reason for this event, May 9th. So thank you guys for listening. It was longer than we expected, and always takes a turn that we don't expect. But give us your comments and your questions down below. Give us a subscription and rating and like, and we will be back next week with some more juicy stuff, hopefully.
Who knows?
Yeah. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys again
See ya.
next week.